Parapsychology Today, a program of investigation into the realms of the unknown. Suspend your mind for a moment and journey to a world beyond the five senses. Parapsychology Today is a program exploring ideas, theories, and concepts that have been around since ancient times. We'll journey to outer worlds and inner worlds. We'll look into such phenomena as past lives, UFOs, and hauntings. And we'll explore psychic ability as it relates to human potential. We do not intend to prove or persuade, but rather present theories and personal stories of ventures into the world of parapsychology. Whatever your beliefs, we hope this program will start you thinking about a reality beyond the five senses.
Hi, welcome to our show, Parapsychology Today, a talk show focusing on alternative healing methods as well as topics that come under the heading of metaphysics. Metaphysics, where we discuss ideas and explore topics beyond the five senses. The intention of this show is to explore ideas and open our hearts and minds to the infinite possibilities that can enhance and enrich our lives, maybe change our lives too. My guest today, again, is Amber Jane Arquette, and our topic is really exciting. It's the ascension of the human race. Now, what is that? It's about the Earth changes and moving into 5D. But some people refer to it as the ascension of the human race, or the Great Awakening. Mm-hmm. So this might be a complicated interview, so hang in there with us. My guest, Amber Jane, is a shamanic healer, among other things, and we're going to keep this topic both interesting and down to earth, so to speak. Thank you, Amber Jane, for joining me again here at MCM TV. We had you before.
Yeah,
we
thanks.
talked about shamanism. Now we're talking about the ascension of the human race.
Yeah.
Before we get going, for people who didn't see our interview, tell us a little bit about your background and why you're qualified to talk on this topic.
Yeah, well, I've been studying the healing modalities of shamanism and soul retrieval and ceremony for 8 years with Jan Ingalls Smith and Light Song. So I have a bachelor's in community shamanism. I'm a ceremonialist and I take clients, as well as been writing some books and journals and starting some courses on how do we cope being spiritual beings in this human experience.
And that's a good point. We are spiritual beings. So a lot of people think of everything as solid, but we're actually energy. So this will make a lot more sense when people understand that we're energy.
Yeah.
So the Earth is also a living creature, and it's moving into a different space too. The ascension of the human race, the ascension of the planet. We're about to take this quantum leap, so to speak. So let's start by explaining, what do we mean by a quantum leap?
Well, when I think of quantum leaping, it's almost like you kind of bypass some steps to move forward. It's almost like you don't have to go through every trial and tribulation, undo every karmic cycle. It's almost like you've gotten to a point where your learning and your expansion, your awareness, and even your inner self-connectedness, like the self that we think of us as a human being connected to that higher conscious spiritual beingness of us. And so it's almost like we reach this pivotal moment where we can kind of grow and expand and quantum leap into a greater expression or greater potential of us.
You know, I have a lot of friends and family, and I feel that everybody's kind of at a different level. You know, some people are more ready to make that leap than others. And I wonder why. Is it because our souls are older?
Oh, I think it has more to do. I used to look at it that way, but I think right now I feel that if there is a very fear-based belief, or if someone has not felt safe in their life or empowered in their life, or even have that inner trust to their intuition, to honor who they are in their life, then they're less likely to maybe be open or ready for a quantum leap. Those people who are on the edge of like, yeah, give me more, what else is there? Show me what's behind the veil, I'm ready. Those people are gonna just be naturally in their ascension process.
That makes a lot of sense. What I'm thinking is the people that spend more time going within rather than going without, like people that are watching and listening to other people, unless that resonates with you. Like there are people I listen to, I resonate with. There are people I listen to, say, nah, it doesn't resonate with my intuition and my inner feeling. So I think the more we go in, the more we're ready to make that leap too.
And I would even say check in. You know, it's not always that we're having to go inside ourselves and find the answers from our own library, because sometimes you go inside yourself and then you go to the spirits or to the collective consciousness to find the answers. But checking in with yourself and saying, this might be right for 5 people in the room, but wrong for me.
Well, you're a shaman too, so you can connect with the spirits more easily than I can, but I understand
because I've been
saying.
practicing.
You've been practicing, but I understand what you're saying. Right now, it seems that like there's a lot of chaos in the world. So how will we feel more empowered if we can take this quantum leap? Do you know?
Yeah, I feel like we need to shift our perspective and definitions on chaos, because chaos can make us feel really uncomfortable, and it can look like, oh my gosh, everything's out of control. But if you think of creation energy as chaos creates so much possibility. It's like everything's in disarray. It's like we built the castle and now the castle pieces are on the floor, and what are we going to do next? So to me, this time, even though there's trials and even traumas, and there's a lot of what we might call negativity or shadow or horrible things happening in the world, my perspective on that is, wow, so much is illuminated. If something is illuminated and we have awareness of it, then we can make different choices. And if everything's in disarray, then we get to put it back together. So in shamanism, there's actually a healing that sometimes I give to people called a dismemberment. And it's where we energetically dismember their auric fields, their mental fields, sometimes the interpersonal relationships and those cords that we have to one another. So it's a big dismemberment so that they can come back into a more divine and aligned remembrance or remembering of the pieces of their lives.
So this chaos is really a big wake-up call, really.
And a playpen in a way, like, oh gosh, okay, now with all this chaos, where do we want to reconnect? Where do we want to talk about our values and the bridges? I feel like it's an opportunity to build bridges between opposition. Right now, that it's not necessarily like there's a lot of polarized viewpoints and not focusing on the connection, but I think that that's just part of the process as we are all in this together. I believe we're all in this together.
All energy is connected.
Yeah.
What are some of the symptoms people might have
when they're going through an ascension process or a spiritual awakening?
Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of physical things, like heart palpitations. So by all means, if someone is having physical things, I'm going to ask them to seek medical advice. We're not doctors here. But sometimes the influx of ascension energies, which are higher frequency than has been in the past, or maybe somebody's used to, those energies are pulsing through their system, and they might feel tension in the chest. They might even have panic attacks. There's anything from headaches to dehydration, emotional ups and downs. So there's a large array of physical and emotional and even energetic, like sometimes feeling really heavy and lethargic, and other times feeling like, oh my gosh, I could run a marathon right now.
You know, those were a lot of negative symptoms, but I was thinking that some of the positive symptoms might be spiritual awakenings, heightened intuition.
Yeah, a lot of times, and right now, a lot of people's gifts are turning on. So all of a sudden they're like, wow, I was intuitive about that, or I had a hunch about that, or feeling like they are here for a reason, or maybe that they have a gift that could be of service to humanity.
That's great. And I think when we were talking earlier, I saw something about Kundalini experiences. Now that's, I kind of understand that. I haven't had that experience, but that's something powerful, isn't it?
It is very powerful.
What happens when you have a Kundalini experience?
There's a lot of people experience or talk about like kind of a pop that they feel in their body, lower down in their body, and then all of this energy rushes through their body. And when this happens, sometimes it takes over physical abilities like shaking.
Doesn't sound like something I want to go through.
Yeah, sometimes you're connecting with guides, sometimes apparitions or spirits show up.
So you need help. I think it seems like you need a guide to help you through that.
Yeah, right now I'm helping somebody through the process, and we're really helping them regulate their energy and get used to.
If I ever want to do it, I'll go to you first. What will we gain by ascending? Did we talk about that already?
No. Mm-mm.
So what do we have to gain?
Well, through the ascension process, we're going to gain basically our ability to choose, our sovereignty. We get more of our will, and we get that interconnectedness. We are stepping in, I think in your notes you were writing, like we get a greater awareness of each other, of life, of maybe even the meaning of ourselves in life.
Yeah, life is very complicated. I mean, why are we here? We wondering. I mean,
yeah.
Some people seem to get through life really well and they're happy and they seem to attract good things into their lives, but I think that has to do with the frequencies of the energies they're putting out. So in order to ascend with the earth, do we have to raise our frequencies, and how do we do that?
Well, one thing, the earth is already ascending on her own, like you talked about, being a being. So her frequency has risen.
They call the Schumann
resonance, I think, is how they
but that
measure
was
it.
named after the man that did the measurements, I think.
Yeah,
so the
so
earth
he
is a
found
living
it.
thing that raises frequencies.
Yeah, and this was fascinating. My teacher told me this, was that originally it was measured, and actually I had a friend who was a healer who uses a frequency box, so little electrodes that can move through your body to help with frequencies and energy. And it was at 7-8 forever. And now it's like above 125.
The earth frequency.
The earth frequency. That's like a huge jump, right?
That's a good thing, I guess.
It's a good thing. So things are sped up. Time actually feels like it's speeding up. Things, we feel busier, our minds are busier, our bodies are busier. And through this process, I feel like this is the opening to coming up with new solutions. You know, I love that Einstein said, like, the problem can't be solved with the mind that created it. And so to me, the ascension process is about opening up our minds to new ways of looking and thinking.
New possibilities.
And new possibilities.
Why is this all happening now? I read something about ascension happens like every 26,000 years. I mean, we've had we had Atlantis, Lemuria. Did they go through this process too, I wonder?
I wonder, I'm not sure.
I don't know. Well,
yeah, one of the things that I really like that's been shared is that, you know, we think of our galaxy, that our planet is entering a part of our galaxy that it's never been before, and that there are energies within our universe that have access to us. And some people even believe that there are spirits that are able to access us in a way that they haven't before and communicate with us. And at the same time, humans are being able to meditate and, in a way, astral travel, whether that's leaving the body or just mentally leaving the body, to levels of consciousness that they haven't been before. So to me, all that's exciting.
It is exciting. I mean, you and I are into this stuff. Now, for the people that think we're wackos, for people that have no idea, what's going to happen to people? The people that have no idea or aren't into this at all, will they ascend or will they be left behind? What will happen?
Nope. My spirits over and over say this is a together thing.
Oh, good.
You all have to do it together.
Because some people I really want to go with me, and I don't want to leave them behind.
Yeah, and I think that's a fear for a lot of us, is that if we become our greatest version, our luckiest version, our most successful version, our most happy version, who are we leaving behind? And what we're actually doing is creating an opportunity for that frequency to be more available on the planet. And we're giving those people an example. We're giving, just by being us. We don't need to be the teacher, we don't need to talk them into it.
Yeah,
because they have their own process
they
to
can see
it.
that we're happy and our lives are moving forward and it's positive. That's a great example for people.
Yeah.
Now we talk about dimensions, and we moving into the higher realm. We're talking about moving into 5D, or the fifth dimension. I don't know how many dimensions there are, 12 or more. I don't remember. But I think now people talk about we're in the third dimension. I was doing research, and it says third dimension is dimension of greed, self-interest, control, and manipulation. Not everybody, but you know. And when we move into a higher dimension, it'll be replaced by community spirit, ecological awareness, abundance consciousness, working for the highest good, being close to nature, loving and kind and creative. And how else will these changes expand our consciousness?
Yeah. Well, I mean, think of all those things that you just talked about. I mean, that's a new earth. That's a new earth concept of like, how are we? So if we're interconnected and we have this unity piece and we have all these interpersonal relationships and we think that we have different, I think that we have collective values. We all want to be safe. We all want our children to be safe. We all want to have opportunity and ability, right? So how do we get
all the good
to?
People do.
Yeah,
I think there's good and evil. I do. I think we're awakened to this right now. I think we're awakened to this fight between good
But
and
what
evil.
if evil is just in a place that's out in contrast, like out of place? Like one of the things in healing in the shamanic viewpoint is that even if something is deemed evil, it's just in a place that it doesn't belong, it doesn't resonate.
Yes,
right?
It
It's not
resonate.
contributing.
It's very low vibration.
It's destructive.
Destructive low.
And when we want something to be creative or creating or healed or abundant, right? Then the thing that's opposite just doesn't belong, but it may belong somewhere else. So I think of that with people being evil on the planet. I think if we continue to create the places where there's healing, where there's hope, where there's goodness, where there's the, what we want to see in the world, instead of trying to fight against, even though I will say caveat to that is that I also think all of the voices and all of the actions are important. But I also kind of question, like, what if we spent more time creating the realities that we wanted to see instead of fighting the realities that we don't want to see?
I love that. I did a show one time called Create Your Own Reality. And we'll come back and talk about creating our own reality, because I believe we can.
Yeah.
We can create a reality with our frequencies and what we attract. It's kind of based on The Secret, which I really resonated with, the frequency you put out, you attract back to you. So, I hear people sometimes, they'll get up and they'll use a lot of swear words, and I say, negative energy, you're going to have a negative day. Not that I'm proving, not that I'm perfect now. I'm not. I'm just trying to learn.
And I think it's the energies that you embody. And, again, a lot of times when we look at children behaving in ways that we don't want them to behave, and we may say, that's a bad kid. It's usually that kid is looking for something. Something is missing. There's a need that's unmet. There's maybe love unsatisfied or unfulfilled. And so if we take that philosophy and we look at the human race, how has that person been damaged or conditioned to be this evil?
So give them a break.
Give them, or call them into something different.
Yes.
Or send them blessings and say, wow, I really super hope that you can be a contributor to all of us winning instead of
that makes sense. Rather
where you're
than
at right now.
In the gutter, just help them get out of the gutter by setting example, or what you said, send them energy, send them love, vibrations. Are there spiritual practices we can do to help us make this transition into the fifth dimension?
Yeah, I think that there's a lot. I think the more that we acknowledge that we are a spiritual being and that there's a spiritual world, and that we have the ability to connect to that and tending to our own energy. One of the things I like to help people understand is that we have to have energy hygiene, just like we take care of our clothes and our body and our houses.
I like that. Energy hygiene, that's a good word. Energy hygiene.
So energy
down.
hygiene can look like forest bathing, going out on a forest walk, a salt bath, meditation that raises your vibration, even dancing. And then as far as spiritual practices, I think having some type of practice, whether it's a moving meditation or a reflective time, a journal time, a place where you're connecting to yourself and creating an opportunity to connect to something larger.
You mentioned journal time. Now you wrote this journal, right?
Yes.
You did this journal?
Yeah.
So tell us about this.
Yeah, so this journal is 30 days of learning how to embody higher frequencies, which helps us with the ascension process and just helps us in life in general. And they're questions to help prompt you write about your life, like what is actually going good, what is going well. Describe something beautiful, even in that. If you're describing with these high frequency, which we talked about last time,
high frequency words,
it changes us. You know, even listening to music that elevates you and inspires you.
You can say nice things to people. The other day I was working out at a gym, and I approached a woman who I thought I knew, but it wasn't. I said, "Oh, well, you're just as pretty as she is." She lit up when I said,
Yeah.
So I like telling people nice things because it lights them up. It makes them feel good.
Yeah.
It's
and just
easier to
think
say
of
a
all
nice
these
thing.
little beacons, right? I think of the whole globe is happening, and we have, 1 billion people on the planet. And there's all these little beacons of light. And if we can keep spreading those beacons of light, then there becomes more and more and more of that. And then the darkness that we see doesn't have as much room. It doesn't have as much power. It's not the tipping of the scales.
The light can get rid of the dark. Yeah, I like energy hygiene. That was a good one, though.
Yeah.
So it's important to open our minds to possibilities, and how we become enlightened by raising our frequencies. Of course, I think that helps. And how do we raise our frequencies by, you mentioned a few things. Doesn't true knowing give us freedom too? We learn.
Yeah, like to explain true knowing just a little bit more.
I would think of your intuition. You got this instinct. This
Yes.
is like, I'm not gonna. Sometimes people tell you do things. If it makes sense to me, maybe I will.
Yeah.
If it doesn't make sense, I'm not going to do it. You can't force me to do it.
And there's a huge inner trust that's built when we listen and respond to our intuition. Because if we constantly are saying, shh, no, just make it easy for other people, or don't stand out, then we kind of break that inner trust. And it takes a while to rebuild, but I think, when we are tapped into what's right for us, and asking, like, how can that contribute to the whole?
Right. It's a non-selfish thing. I mentioned I took the shaman workshop because Jan offered it to me.
Yeah.
And I knew I was intuitive, but when I did these exercises, it blew me away.
Right?
People don't realize. I want to do a show on our powers, because we have a lot more power being spiritual beings than we realize. We keep thinking of ourselves as this 3D physical thing.
Yeah.
But we have so much more power. And that's why I'm doing this show, too, to open people's... people don't have to agree with me or agree with us, but just look into it, see what you think, see how you feel about it.
And even talking about ascension symptoms and talking about ascension as like an energy that's speeding up on the planet. Some of us who are in our 40s and above, it's like, I remember a slower time. I remember when things didn't feel so...
They seem like they're moving really fast.
And it's like we get to put language to something that isn't being kind of talked about in the mainstream or talked about necessarily with the science.
It's not talked in the mainstream.
Yeah.
That's why we're...
That's why we're here.
That's why we're here. And I think we really have to open up our minds for all this, because so many of us have preconceived ideas. I'm sure I have ideas too, but I think it's good to be flexible, so that, okay, I grew up with this idea, but where did it come from? Can I change it? I mean, a belief is what? A belief is something you hold, but it's not necessarily true. A truth and a belief, what's true?
Yeah, so that's an awesome question, and I actually been picking apart this question for the last few years. To me, there's always a truth inside of us, a trueness of this moment that may change in 2 hours, right? I'm not hungry now is a truth, and into a couple hours I will be hungry. And then there are some overall truths of the universe. And I think that as we go through ascension, we will find greater truths. And I think as we go through the dimensions, those truths actually change.
Interesting. I think we have preconceived ideas, and I was going to ask you where they come from. I think we're conditioned from when we're first born. We're conditioned through our whole lives.
I agree.
I don't want to put any institution down, but we're conditioned.
Well, I think we're even conditioned because of the energies and the collective consciousness around the planet. So if we wanted to create a story around this, we could, think of the shooting star of a soul coming into the Earth's atmosphere, and here's this blanket of collective consciousness. And we go through that blanket and we pick up all the ideas about what it is to be, this person or that person, what it is to, be successful, what it is to be rich or lovable, right? And then we plop into the collective consciousness of our family and get another layer of downloads, right? So sometimes it is an unraveling of all the things we've learned to learn the truth of ourselves and the greater divine truths of, human nature, the Earth's nature.
It doesn't sound like an easy path, but it sounds like a worthwhile path.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's worth doing this work.
And I love the question, what if it was easy? What if it's easier now than it ever was because of the ascension process?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you think it will be easy now that we're ascending?
I think that we can ask that question, and I think that we can open it up for us.
Have we ascended before? I wonder, like I mentioned, I don't know if I mentioned this talking to you before the show or during the show. It seems like every 26,000 years or so,
the humanity goes through another ascension.
Yeah.
I wonder about that.
Yeah.
I've read things about just really far out stories, but I think that one of the most empowering stories is that right now we're the species on the planet, and whether those, whether Atlantis was direct relatives or not, it's our time to shine. It's our time to up-level to our greatest potential. And to me, that's what Ascension is about. Like, how can I go through my own personal ascension so that I can be in the greatness of myself, which is pure expression and
Ascension won't hurt
pure
us.
potential.
I don't think Ascension's going to hurt us.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Thank
either.
you so much. It's been, this has been pretty, existential, but
Yeah.
kind of, even me, I'm going, whoa, I'll probably have a headache but I love this stuff because I love to think about what the possibilities are. We're not just flesh and blood, we're more than that. And the world is more than that.
Yeah.
Did you want to add anything to our discussion?
I just think, I just want to say, like, the intention behind the 30-day journal was to help people realize that they can have more control and choice over their emotions and what they decide to embody. And when we embody an emotion, it's a frequency, and then it radiates out and creates our reality. And so even if all of this feels like so far out there, this is...
I'm far out, it does to me.
Yeah, and this can be a daily step that's like, okay, I can achieve thinking about my life differently and cataloging what's actually going right here so that I can feel better about every step along the way. And that builds on itself to where, just as the gratitude practice rewires our brain to think differently.
Yes.
And that's the power in all of this, is that our brain is not us, and that we can really rewire our belief systems and ideas, and that can help.
I think journaling is a good way to go. I've read that journaling is very good. And also I have I don't do it every day, but a gratitude journal, and I've written in it, and I look back on it, I go, yeah, I'm grateful for this, I'm grateful for that. It's more fun to be grateful than to be complaining all the time.
Yes.
Thank you. I want to be grateful for you being here with me again, Amber Jane. Thank you.
It was delightful.
I've enjoyed our conversation. Now I'm going to talk to the audience, but I'll have you come back. We'll talk. I'm sure there are other topics we can talk on. But I want to thank the audience now for watching our show, and we would love to hear back from you on what subjects and topics you'd like us to cover on Parapsychology Today. We're also open to suggestions you might have on topics. And also, if you'd like to be considered for an interview, we're welcome to listen to that too. Remember, it's on alternative healing and metaphysical topics, so don't come and talk to us about your dog or something like that, unless there's a spiritual end to it.
Maybe the dog's talking to them.
Unless the dog's talking to you, right. Okay, so please contact us. If you're not sure what metaphysical means, it's the definition is something beyond the five senses. So, so you saw the introduction in the video. So we're going to give you an email. So please email us at parapsychologytoday24@gmail.com, and we will take your emails into consideration. You can any comments you want to make, negative, positive, we don't care. We just want to know if you're enjoying the show and what you'd like to see again. So thank you so much. And watch the credits, because we will have information on Amber Jane. So if you want to contact her, we'll have her email and her website. and also some other information. And before we go, one last thank you to Phil and to starts with a K, the other guy.
Okay.
Thank you so much, and thank you MCM TV for letting us use your facilities. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you.